GBNews has infiltrated another people smuggling gang. They provided evidence to us of them bringing illegal immigrants across in small boats. We exchanged dozens of messages with them. So we were quoted €1,200 as the cost of our crossing. And the messages seem to suggest that he tries to do crossings most days and has actually been doing it for quite a while, as evidenced by TikTok videos of people breaking into Britain that go back at least a couple of months. So then, just to be sure, we asked him to send us locations, and he duly sent them to us. There's a map there of where the meeting point was for one of the boats. He claims he had boats launched on both the 15th and 16th of June, so as recently as yesterday. We have yet again handed his phone number, his personal information and his locations over to the National Crime Agency. So that means that they can track this guy's exact location right now if they wanted to. Will they? Well, we shouldn't have to keep doing this, should we? Continually embarrass the authorities by showing them how many gangs there are, how freely they're operating in France, and how easily they could bring people into Britain. I mean, at this rate, I might go to Calais, meet them, get in one of their boats, and just come across myself. This is a national emergency. All right? It has emerged that in the last few days, illegal immigrants have been attacking and killing each other in Calais.
Effectively, you've got sort of people smuggling gangs in a war with mainly African migrants from Sudan and elsewhere who are either refusing to or don't have the money to pay the people smugglers for crossing. So what they have adopted is a tactic of storming the boats as they're launched and trying to muscle their way on board, armed with weapons and causing all kinds of injuries. 3 people were pulled from a boat just yesterday with stab wounds.
And yesterday it emerged that illegal immigrants are being investigated for their alleged role in live grooming gang investigations.
Secondly, Baroness Casey reports that she came across cases involving suspects who were asylum seekers. We have asked her team to provide to the Home Office all the evidence that they found, so the immigration enforcement can immediately pursue individual cases with the police.
I don't think violent murderers and possible child rapists should be able to download TikTok, find a human trafficker, pay them a little bit of cash, and then be brought into Britain. I think it's quite easy to stop that problem. It's a national emergency. So why isn't Sir Keir Starmer treating it like one? Let's get thoughts of my panel. We, of course, do have Reform County Councillor Jamie McIver. We've got broadcaster and columnist Esther Kraku, and we've got journalist Jonathan Liss. Yeah, Jamie, so you know, we've done it again. We found it quite easy to do it. You know, in light of the fact that yesterday it's emerged that people who are allegedly involved in some of these grooming gangs are illegal migrants, and we've seen an increase in violence in those migrant camps. You know, surely it should be treated as a national emergency now.
Well, of course it's a national emergency. We know already it's a national security emergency. That's, you know, as clear as night follows day. What is awful is that a lot of people have been saying for a very long time there has to be a link. That link has been proven. Of course, this is a public safety matter now, and it should be the utmost concern of anybody, any politician with any sort of power in this country should be using their power to immediately make the public safe, because it's proven.
Yeah, I mean, Esther, the first time we got in touch with the National Crime Agency, to be fair, they seemed to maybe took it relatively seriously, and I think they told us, you know, that they were looking into certain things and all of that stuff. And then we just messaged them again, and we'll probably have to read this response out in a minute, but it's literally just the same response they sent us last time. I don't think that potential child rapists should be able to look on TikTok, find a bloke who'll bring them over the channel, pay them, and be brought to Britain just like that, because currently they can.
I mean, nothing has indicated or demonstrated the gap between between the public and, our politicians more than this issue. It doesn't need to get this far. We don't need to talk about the fact that these are a danger to the British public, or the fact that these are predominantly men fleeing France, which, again, sketchy.
Yep.
We don't even need to touch all these bases. Why should the British public that has laws that we are expected to abide by tolerate people that have no entitlement to being here, flagrantly breaking our laws, and then coming here and then receiving all the benefits of the state? I mean, that's the baseline. It doesn't matter that they're rioting in France over what baguette or whatever, or that they're coming here and there's a high proportion of them that are overrepresented in sexuals. It doesn't matter. The British public should not be expected to follow laws that we elect politicians to then enact, but then people that are not even entitled to be here don't follow those laws. It's obscene.
Yeah, I mean, but Jonathan, we've given them enough information that they can literally just now, because we've given them their phone number and everything, they could just tell where that people smuggler is. Well, why aren't we just nicking these people in France?
And doing what? We can't nick them and take them anywhere.
Well, we
most of them destroy the documentation.
But why can't look, what more do they want? Do they want me to go there, put a camera in their face, and come across on a boat myself the whole way shouting, this is a human trafficker?
Well, obviously Britain doesn't have jurisdiction over France.
I don't care. Send the SAS in. National emergency, mate. If we're bringing child predators, murderers and whoever else across that channel, it needs to stop. Send in the SAS.
Patrick, I think it's in everyone's interest to stop the gangs and to stop this vile trade in human beings. And, I've made this point repeatedly. Everyone wants to stop the boats, including the people who get on them. They are spending so much. They are spending a lot of money.
They really want the boat.
No, they don't. They would like safe and legal ways to come here that don't cost their entire life savings, which is fund the organised crime. They don't want to do that.
Entire life savings.
Well, do you know
they're criminals?
I'm not talking about the criminals. I'm talking about the people who are going on the boats.
So when I spoke to a couple of those people, right? They said that they were being paid for by their parents back in Eritrea.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And they just keep sending them money.
Just one. Here's the thing. There's no point in justifying all of this. We shouldn't tolerate this. Even if they were an army of nuns coming from Tuscany with gifts to bear. If they're coming to this country illegally, we shouldn't claim asylum. I don't care why.
Esther, I'm sorry. But you talk about tolerating. I'm sorry. We're not going to tolerate international law now. Claiming asylum that's not true. That is simply not true.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, you can't just make up the law on the trot, Esther. Claiming asylum is an international human right.
To Peru on a boat and say, I have a right to claim asylum. Take me in.
Actually, yes, I can go to Peru.
Why don't you try that?
I can't because I don't want to. I'm quite happy here and I'm not being persecuted.
Oh, okay. You don't want to be
sometimes feel like
Guess what? The Marines in Peru.
Persecuted in France.
The Marines in Peru will not shuffle you in and
it is
roll out the red
illegal.
carpet because Jonathan Liz wants to claim
Peru doesn't have to grant me asylum, but if I claim asylum, then it's not true. If I claim asylum in a country, they have a duty under international law to process that.
Try that in Sudan.
Now, here's my point.
Very few people
in
going
the
to Sudan
last
to claim
2 days alone, we have been presented with some new information that many people thought they already knew, but now we definitely know it, right? That there are people who have broken into Britain illegally who are being investigated for grooming gang offences. And now some people have started shooting each other in Calais. And, what's on the front of the Daily Telegraph tomorrow? Foreigners behind quarter of sex attacks. We could...
At a minimum.
OK, but what does foreigner mean? Does it mean people who weren't born here, who are citizens? OK, well,
you're going to say that includes Boris Johnson, not as a sex criminal, but in terms of being a foreigner, right? Yeah, but that's not really who we're talking about, is it?
Well, no, but who are we talking about then? Go on then, who are we talking about?
I'll tell you who we're talking about.
What does a foreigner mean? What's a foreigner?
We're talking about people that have come to this country for whatever reason. They've come to this country, they've been welcomed into this country, and they have chosen to use their opportunity in the land of opportunity to commit horrendous crimes at the expense of British...
There
is also a significant number of them who have entered this country illegally, broken laws on day one.
Yep.
The idea they're claiming asylum in Britain and then that's OK. No, it's not OK, because they can claim asylum in France, claim asylum in Spain. They choose to claim asylum in Britain because we're a soft touch, and we allow them to break into our country on a small boat. It is a national security emergency. It needs to be treated as such, which is why I spent my entire life at the moment campaigning to make sure we have a reformed government.
Well, they're not remotely
Only
as soft touch.
one party taking it seriously, and the government isn't.
And
You know what they could do to shut me up, right? Because I'm going to keep doing this. Seriously, I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing it like every week or every other day and highlighting how many people there are out there just trading in human life, sending people across the channel. Some of those people might be quite, quite dangerous, as it turns out, as well. They could just, the NCA, crack one of those people and send that to me as a press release, and I'd have to come out here and praise them, wouldn't I? Why aren't they doing that?
They don't want to. We've got a Labour government. We've got a Labour government with a load of Labour backbenchers that have no interest in seeing this issue go away. They would rather people be welcomed in Dover off of a boat.
They would love this issue to go away.
And put in a hotel. That's what they're happy to do. No, they are in government with a supermajority. They can deal with it. They're
Come on, that's nonsense.
This
is as you've correctly identified.
Why are Labour not campaigning to leave the ECHR?
Because that's a nonsensical policy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a nonsensical policy.
Because it's going to solve the problem.
No, it's not going to solve.
They don't want to solve the problem
in any way.
They want to
absolutely
welcome
guarantee.
People to this country.
Let's have this conversation in 10 years' time. If, God forbid, your party ever gets in power and enacts that monstrous policy, it was not going to change it one bit. I guarantee you. But let's have that conversation in 10 years' time. Should the worst happen? The point is that Starmer would love this issue to go away, but he wants to follow the law. And I've got plenty of differences with Starmer on this issue, and I think that they should have a visa, asylum processing centres in France. Keep saying that. Provide safe and legal means to come here, so thereby completely smashing the business model of those vile gangs. But Labour is not listening to me, that's fine, but we'll see how well they do. But the idea that they are happy for people to come across on these boats is just ludicrous, I'm sorry.
Well, Keir Starmer today has been forced to admit that the situation in the Channel is, quote, deteriorating. So he's been in office for a year, so it's a fifth of his time, and it's got worse.
I have to say this honestly. I didn't have high hopes for the Labour government. I did not think they would be this bad this quickly, and it has actually shocked me how bad across virtually every level of public life things have deteriorated under this Labour government. And I don't know if the country can stomach 4 more years of this. I genuinely don't. I don't believe it can. Well, it's horrendous.
Well, I mean, that's what he said on the Tories as well.
Actually, people are losing energy and hope. That's the sad thing. People, just a year in, people have really lost hope that things can actually get better.
So for the money that we've given the French, OK, and given that the Prime Minister today has been forced to say that it's deteriorating in the Channel, and that we've found out that people are involved in grooming gangs, allegedly, who have broken into Britain, and that they've started shooting each other in Calais, what is stopping, for the money we've sent the French, what is stopping them tracking down that bloke whose phone number is on my phone right now, who you could track him exactly where he is now?
You'd have to ask the French then, wouldn't you?
All the Brits.
We're not in control of France.
Why are we giving them the money then?
Anymore.
So we stop the money and we say to them, you can't fish in our waters. And we say all those things to them. This is ridiculous. The French officer, it's dead easy. I could go and meet that human trafficker tomorrow, probably, if I wanted to. Why can't the French go and knock on his door?
They want more money.
You have to ask them.
They like taking our...
It's ridiculous. That's the problem. It's just this kind of nonchalant... You see, this is the thing. Where the public is in terms of their outrage over this ludicrous situation and when our politicians are, there's a huge gap. Because if this was happening in their house, like literally in their neighbourhoods, at their doorstep, there would be a completely different reaction. And this is why when people say, oh, you can't vote for Reform or Tories or whatever, they're underestimating how radical people can get when they just say no one can be worse than this law, because that's what you've pushed the public to.
OK, well, let's go. So this is what the National Crime Agency said. It said the majority of migrants who are facilitated into the UK by organised immigration crime networks will have engaged with social media at some point in their journey. It is widely known that these groups use social media to promote their services and attract custom. Since the end of 2021, we've worked with social media companies to help them prevent crime groups using these platforms to recruit, communicate and advertise a range of services to migrants. To date, this work has seen almost 21,000 post pages or accounts advertising organised immigration crime services removed from platforms. Tackling organised immigration crime remains a key priority for the NCA, and we are devoting more resource to this than ever before. OK.